Thank you. It being sometime after 6 o'clock on Tuesday, I will convene this meeting of the Westborough Select Board. This meeting will be hybrid tonight, so I will read the corresponding remarks. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Articles of 2025, an act extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, this meeting will be conducted in person and via remote means in accordance with applicable law. This means that members of the public body as well as members of the public may access this meeting in person or via virtual means. In-person attendance will be at the location listed at the top of this agenda, and it is possible that some or all members of the public body may attend remotely, with in-person attendance consisting of members of the public. This meeting may be accessed remotely via Microsoft Teams. The ID and passcode is listed with the link. When required by law or allowed by the chair, persons wishing to provide public comment or otherwise participate in the meeting may do so by in-person attendance or by accessing the meeting remotely as noted above. Additionally, the meeting will be broadcast live in real time via Verizon Channel 28 and Charter Channel 192, or via Westborough TV's online platforms at westboroughTV.org and youtube.com/Westborough TV. Additionally, this meeting is being live streamed and recorded by Westborough TV. I guess that was also in the other. Okay. And with that, if you're able, please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So, Chair Johnson is stuck in, I guess, some fairly horrific traffic out there on the Pike, and Vice Chair Marshall will be joining us remotely momentarily. But with that, we will begin with open forum. Our recreation director is here.
Hello, my name is Jen Kirkland, I'm the Recreation Director. I'm just here tonight to inform the board and the public of the annual Winter Light Parade and annual tree lighting at the Rotary will be held Sunday, November 30th. It'll start at 4:30 this year with a new event hosted by the Westborough Firefighter Foundation with a fun run, and then it'll go lead right into the Winter Light Parade, which starts at School Street and goes down to the Rotary, and that will lead immediately into the Rotary Club's annual tree lighting at the Rotary. They do Santa visits and hot chocolate and things like that. So that is Sunday, November 30th. We've coordinated with the police and DPW and Westborough Fire, so it's a really good night. So hopefully everyone comes out for it, but just wanted to let everybody know.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Looking forward to it. Anyone else for? Yes, please. Just give us name and address.
Hi, my name is Wayne Webster. I'm from 3 Essex Way. I'm here to speak about the impact the planning board has on this community. I speak with some authority, having served on a similar board in Melrose, Massachusetts for over 20 years. I have some very real concern about the way our current planning board members conduct business. Although you don't have control over another elected body, a wrong turn is costly to the town, and your voice and guidance are critical. We're abutters to Route 9. We accept the proper development of business along the corridor. We reject being just tolerated and not listened to when presenting solid and professional data prepared upon an opinion for an application. On the November 4th meeting, everyone I spoke with from the audience walked away with one observation. The board intended to approve this from the beginning and never listened to one word we said. Here are some illustrations of the issues using the recent 210 Turnpike Road hearing process. I recognize you can't turn anything over. I'm not asking you to do that. There were 50 to 80 people at each hearing concerned about the traffic and gridlock predicted by the applicant's own expert testimony, 105 vehicles per hour during peak periods twice a day for 6 days a week. 126 people signed a petition, all neighbors, opposing the special permit. Walker Meadow and Stagecoach, the two largest communities there, engaged a law firm and spent over $20,000 guiding us through the process. The goal was to provide credible testimony. Did you know that the applicant used traffic data to build his base for the traffic flow using Mass DOT data that came during the COVID years? That's where he started from. This should have raised some eyebrows when pointed out by the public, but we had crickets from the board members. The special permit was denied that night on the first round of hearings by a vote of 3-2. In that deliberation, then member Silverberg said if the special permit is approved for the drive-through, this would be the only commercial enterprise in the commercial zone in which all customer traffic to and from the restaurant will be by the way of a residential street. This exception alone was sufficient grounds under our bylaws to deny the special permit. Then they botched the written decision. They never explained why the vote denied the special permit. With the town planner for Hopkinton as a member of the board and with the town planner for Westborough advising the board, it begs the question, how did this happen? This is decision writing 101. I can think of only two reasons. It's either incompetence or the decision was made before the deliberations and vote. So off we go to court. New hearings are required. The one hearing scheduled which allowed public testimony was on September 2nd. Again, attendees gave well-prepared testimony to the board. John Gelkich said in the final of the two hearings in words and substance that they transferred all the applicant's testimony from the first hearing to the new hearing because nothing had changed. And I want you to remember that nothing had changed. One important document was conveniently missed, the peer review of the traffic study predicting an increase in rear and side collisions at the intersection of Route 9 and Park Street as customers queue up for the turn. Walker Meadow produced it for the record. Walker Meadow hired a traffic engineer, spent some $5,000 with credentials as long as you're on. Here's a copy of the report. I'm going to leave it with you. It was delivered to the board with plenty of time. What it says, in short, is this is worse than you thought. The board never mentioned it, contested its findings, or had anything to say about it, just crickets. With each testimony, no matter how fact-driven and well-researched, there was nothing from the board. No questions, no comments, nothing other than a limited tolerance for the time taken up by attendees presenting to the board and directions to wrap it up. On November 4, a draft decision was presented for all of us to view. Again, John Gelkich told us it's the same as the failed decision from the first hearing. During the session, the members made minor changes to the draft. My question is, how does a decision get written before deliberations and a vote? I've never experienced that before. There's only one conclusion any reasonable person can draw. The planning board decided this was a done deal and wrote the decision before the board members deliberated or voted. The special permit was approved unanimously, and in their words, when nothing had changed and had been denied prior. This is not a good place for the community to end up. Win, lose, or draw, we must know we are treated fairly and with respect by our elected officials. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Webster. Get over to you. Or are we open forum?
Okay.
I don't know if there's anybody else.
Anybody else here for open forum? Okay. Seeing none, apologies for being late to the rest of the board. We do have a public hearing at 6:15. We haven't done. Okay, should we go to public hearing or should we?
I think you can go to both.
Yeah. So we're going to skip over item 2 now. We'll come back to that just because we do have a scheduled public hearing at 6:15. This is the naming of space between 32 and 34 West Main Street. I would look for a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and do we have Shelby on?
Shelby is on, and I think she'll be on camera in about 10 minutes. We also have Mary Parker is on, and she's the proponent of one of the names. So I know that she's interested in speaking as well.
Okay, so with remote participation, I think we have to do roll call vote. So roll call vote. Patrick?
Welch, yes.
Keo, yes.
Silverberg, yes.
And Shelby, if you can hear us. Not hearing, but Johnson, yes. We will move into convening the public hearing. Okay. Sorry, I just. So again, this is naming a space between 32 and 34 West Main Street. The naming policy adopted by the board was adopted on June 10th. On September 9th, the select board voted to seek nominations for naming the space located just outside Town Hall here between 32 and 34 West Main Street. The Civic Club subsequently requested the select board also vote their intent to name the area between Town Hall and the Coop in accordance with the policy. The deadline for name submissions was October 8th, 2025, and 2 suggestions were received. Those 2, Civic Plaza and Parker Plaza. We advertised the public hearing on October 22nd, 2025, inviting interested parties to attend or submit comments to the town manager's office. And we've had a number of the pieces included in our board packet. So with that, we have 2 proponents, I think, both here. I would ask, just going in order of the alphabet, I guess I'll start with the proponents for Civic Plaza. Is anyone here to speak on that, please?
All right. I'm George Grosner, resident of 49 Warren Street and president of the Westborough Civic Club. I last appeared before the board on October 14th when the select board voted unanimously to accept the club's first donation toward improving the area between 32 and 34 West Main Street. This location serves as a natural point of connection within downtown Westborough. To recognize and strengthen its role as a shared public space, the Civic Club proposes naming the area Civic Plaza. The term civic highlights the space's relationship to community life, public identity, and collective use. It reinforces that this is not a private or commercial passageway, but a welcoming place that belongs to all residents and visitors. Its proximity to Town Hall, our central civic building, further supports this designation. The term plaza has long referred to an accessible space for social, culture, and civic interaction. Using it here reflects the intent to foster community engagement and provide an inviting, inclusive environment in the heart of Westborough. The Westborough Civic Club was founded in 1975 with a single purpose: to benefit the town of Westborough and its residents. The club is made up of civic-minded men and women from across the community who take pride in contributing through hands-on fundraising and service. Over the past 50 years, the club has made more than $1.25 million in donations, supported numerous annual town events, and counted among its membership many individuals who have served or continue to serve in a wide range of civic roles. We believe the proposed name, the site's downtown location, and the Civic Club's 5 decades of service form a meaningful and fitting combination. Together, they establish a clear identity for the space, aligned with the town's long-term vision for a vibrant and inclusive downtown. Our members are honored to support the enhancement and beautification of this important community space. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think before going to public comment, are we able to? Okay.
So Mary asked if someone could read the email that she sent earlier today while we keep trying to get her on. So we can pull that up and read that into the record.
Multitasking. Do you want to read it? No. Oh, let me,
If I can get to it. It's
Get to it,
towards the end.
You got it?
I have it.
There we go. I got it.
I had it. I just lost it.
37.
I think I just deleted it. Okay, sorry about this, technical difficulties. Okay, so this was submitted by Mary Ellen Parker, nomination for Parker Plaza. Basically, reading the email, that I'm sending this email today in preparation for tonight's Select Board public hearing on naming the space between 32 and 43 West Main Street. I will be attending tonight virtually using our team meetings, which trying to do. I have tested the link, seems to be working fine back then. I guess it's not working now. But she sent this copy of why she would like to name it Parker Plaza. I would like to name this space Parker Plaza in honor of my husband, Glenn R. Parker, the Westborough retired police chief. The police headquarters was located downstairs in the town hall, and the entrance to the police headquarters was off this space, and this is where Glenn started his career with the Westborough Police Department. The police department was located in the downstairs of the town hall from the beginning until 1981 when they moved to the Forbes building. Glenn joined the Westborough Police Department in 1968 as a special policeman, then became a dispatcher. He then was hired as a permanent police officer and came up the ranks to become a sergeant, a detective, lieutenant, and was appointed police chief in 1992. Glenn retired as a police chief in July of 2002, but Glenn continued to work as a special police officer after retirement until 2012, after 44 years of service. Glenn was born at 144 East Main Street in Westborough, but also lived in Northborough and back to Westborough. Glenn and I were married in 1988 and built a home at 4 Ruggles Pond Road and also lived on Gleason Street. We retired to Florida and Maine in 2012. While Glenn was on the police department, he was responsible for bringing the drug abuse resistance education, also known as DARE program, into the schools. He established the partnership with the police and Westborough Abuse Violence Education Support, known as WAVES group, and created the Westborough Police Department Bike Control. He formed the SRV, or Special Response Vehicle, which was a partnership with the police and fire department. He also, with a few others, started the Dan Campion, former police chief, road race that created a scholarship for seniors. In 1996, Glenn was nominated and chosen by the Olympic nomination team to run and carry the 1996 Olympic torch representing Westborough, and he ran the torch through Framingham on June 15, 1996. He also ran in 7 Boston marathons. Glenn wrote his book, Cornfield Meat, that is a history book about the trolleys in Westborough, and the Civic Club paid to publish the book, which has been enjoyed by many. He currently has a Facebook page, Westborough's History, dedicated to posting many Westborough history pictures and events that are enjoyed by over 1,000 followers. Most recently, he donated his extensive police collection to the Westborough Police Department. I hope you have a chance to view his many items and pictures located at the Westborough Police Department. His biggest pride is his blue call light that was used on the rotary to call the police and is on display at the Westborough Police Department. He was also a member of the Historic Commission, Westborough Rotary Club, and was an elected member of the Westborough Planning Board for many years. Glenn dedicated many wonderful years making Westborough a better place to live for the residents. One of his best memories was walking on patrol downtown, meeting and talking to kids and forming friendships and trust. Glenn is 80 years old now, and we live near our daughter in Chattanooga, Tennessee. With pride, I would like to nominate Glenn Parker to be honored in naming this space on the side of Town Hall as Parker Plaza. Thank you for the opportunity to nominate Glenn. Sincerely, Mary Ellen Parker. So hopefully I did that justice for Mary Ellen there. Any comments from the board, or I will open it up for any public comments since this is a public hearing? Anything from the board before I do that? Hey, is there anybody else here that wishes to speak on either of the nominations? Thank you.
Good evening, Marjorie Pierce, Westborough Historical Commission. The commission appreciates the generosity of the Civic Club and all of the many contributions that they have made to the town. However, the commission has chosen to endorse the name Parker Plaza. And I will explain that choice. The proposed name honoring Glenn R. Parker carries a deep and tangible connection to Westborough's historical and civic life. Chief Parker served the town for 44 years in the police department, including a decade as police chief. He also made significant contributions to Westborough's history through his authorship of Cornfield Meat, a book on the town's trolley system, and through his volunteer as a member of the Historical Commission, Rotary Club, and Planning Board. The proposed pocket park is adjacent to the location of the original police department entrance, where Chief Parker began his long tenure of service. Naming the space in his honor would thus recognize both his personal dedication and the broader civic spirit he represented. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Steve Hart, 22 Brewer Drive. This is a problem because you're going to be facing this time and again when it comes to naming. A couple of thoughts that I have is that 6 months ago, there was no plaza. You just had a piece of ground that you didn't know what you're going to do with. And it was the Civic Club that came forward and said, hey, we want to do something for this town in honor of our 50th anniversary. And over that 50 years, forget the money, but think of the things that the Civic Club have given back. Many, many, many organizations and individuals in this town have benefited from the activities and the hard work of Civic Club members. There's also the difficulty of thinking of individuals such as Chief Parker. And there are those who passed, and there will be more in the present, who have served this town willfully, willingly, and for long periods of time. And I'm just wondering if there's some other way that these individuals might be recognized. In this case, whether it would be appropriate, should the board vote for Civic Plaza, to at least recognize Chief Parker, perhaps by a memorial bench or some form of plaque that's positioned in the area outside this building. But whatever, I just bring it back to the fact that what were you going to do with it before the Civic Club actually said we need to beautify that area? And it's really challenging because, you know, you have a decision to make. But I just make the point that the Civic Club that drove this, drove us to where we are today, and are doing what they think best for the town and every individual in this town who can benefit from the developments outside. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there others that we wish to speak?
Shelby's trying to speak.
Shelby?
We can't hear her.
No.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
So we're able to hear Shelby through a different computer. So I'm trying to log in. We cannot hear Mary at all. So I'm not sure if that's on her end, the ability to hear her.
Okay. Yep, still can't hear you, Shelby.
Do we, if we can't hear one of the proponents, do we want to continue this too? And I hate to do that, but it doesn't seem fair to not give both sides a voice.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I said, I was suggesting that we,
No, he was just
Sorry, Shelby, can you hear us? Thumbs up.
I was suggesting that we might want to continue this until we can sort out the technical difficulties, because it doesn't seem fair to me that we can't hear from both proponents. I know we read that letter.
I guess the only thing I can say is that we can hear Shelby. I just need to log in here, we can't hear Mary. So, and Amanda and Shelby can hear each other. So I'm just not sure if that, wouldn't believe that that's on our end. So I'm not sure if that's something that we need Mary to figure out.
Can Shelby and Amanda hear, Mary?
No.
No.
So it's up to you how you want to handle it, of course. But
Look to others on the board.
I guess once we resolve the issue, for Shelby, I don't know if it will be possible to resolve the issue. Like if we're going to postpone this to another meeting and we're going to be in the same situation.
so Mary is messaging Amanda and said that she has no other comments except for what you already read.
Okay.
That's what Mary said?
Yes.
Okay, then with that, I'm okay going forward.
Okay. Anything else? Anything from the board members?
No, still doing public comment?
Yep.
Okay.
Board, Bill Linane, 21 Deerfield, here in Westborough. I find myself in a very difficult position, having been a long-standing member of the community. I knew Glenn, and he's what is reminding me of the things that I can't quite remember all the things that he's done. He was significant. So weren't many of our chiefs here in town. I'm also a Civic Club member, have been for a number of years. The fact that I weigh, and one thing, the club went through an analysis of many places to do something to commemorate the town during our 50th anniversary. I think we chose one that we thought the public would enjoy. And as Steve said, and as has been portrayed to you, that much has been done to bring this forward to the community in hopes that the community would enjoy it. Again, Parker has done an awful lot for the community, but I think, as Steve said, that maybe there are places here in the community, whether it's a plaque within the plaza itself, a bench or something that attributes all the remarkable things that he's done. I think that should be considered also. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there others? Anybody else for public comment? So I'll turn it back to the board.
In case you didn't hear yourself.
Sorry.
Shelby wants to say something.
Shelby. Just while we're looking at that, we did have the general manager of Westborough TV just texted, said that they're actively working on trying to fix this as well.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. I'll speak when I need to.
Hey, any comments from board members?
Can you mute us?
Okay,
thank you. All right, I will make comment. Over the course of the past few days, we've received a lot of emails regarding this. We've received a few in support of Mr. Parker. We've received many in support of Civic Plaza. I appreciate everyone who's reached out and provided their thoughts on the naming policy. This is not a simple decision. I think partially because of the central location, partially because the name Civic Plaza represents the work of hundreds of individuals who have been members of the Civic Club over the years and regularly give their time in support of the town, and I guess the plaza itself is a reminder of what the Civic Club does for us, you know, and what it has done over the last 50 years. I would like to figure out something to do for Chief Parker, but I feel like the plaza itself should be named after the Civic Club.
Thank you.
Next.
Sure, I'll give it a go. First of all, I'd like to thank, both applicants and the work they did in regards to getting the citizens petition signed. That's no trivial matter when you have to go out there and put the feet to the ground and get those. So thank you very much for doing that and bringing what I consider to be two very, very welcoming names. It's first. I guess it's the second time we've had a discussion in regards to proposals in regards to our new policy on naming town property. I'd also like to thank the Historic Commission on the work that they did, and also the residents who signed those petitions, and also the letter that we received from the town clerk. As Sean mentioned, we received a number of different letters, proponents of both, which was fantastic to see. A lot of great history that was, brought up by that some things I forgot, some things I didn't know. So it was really good to see a lot of that information. I struggle with this one, and as I was reading through some of those comments, one of the things that came up in my mind, and we had one of the proponents for the Civic Club had mentioned that there were two Chief Parkers in town, and both of them were incredible individuals who provided a lot to the community for a lot of years, and that struck home. We also, as I mentioned, received a letter from our town clerk, who actually made the comment to us in regards to the two Chief Parkers as to whether or not the board would consider, if so in fact we named it after Parker Plaza, that it should actually be Parker's Plaza instead, so that it observes and recognizes both of those contributions. Well, that gets one thinking, right? And the first thing that comes to my mind is this is a new policy with a new procedure in it. And after going back through that policy and procedure, I think that the board does have the latitude within the context of the two proposed names to actually propose our name within those. And I wonder if there's an opportunity, and I'm just throwing this out to the board for discussion purposes, if there's an opportunity to recognize both. Parker's Civic Plaza or Civic Parker's Plaza, I'm not sure. I think that they're both equally justifiable names. As we've heard, to struggle not only, I think, for the members of the board, because we recognize the history of both, and we in the work that they've done for the community, but also, I don't know. I get the idea of a bench, a plaque. Chief Parker was, I remember him in high school at the football games. I remember him being a man around town a lot. I saw him quite often. Never really had many interactions because I was much younger then. But, I do remember him being a valued member of the town. So I struggle with this one, and I guess I'm just tossing it out to the board if they agree with there's latitude in the policy. And then finally, I'll just mention that as I look at the criteria in the policy, there are 6 criteria. And these submissions meet pretty much all of them. So that's fantastic. I mean, we have a good problem here to solve. So I'm really glad to see that we have thoughtful names. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Shelby or Mark? Mark?
I don't know.
She's on my phone, so she can speak.
I mean,
We're actually offered to call Mary so that she could speak.
why don't you have Shelby go?
Oh, I can speak if you guys are ready for that?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Again, I won't repeat anything that's already been said. I do want to echo, though, Sean's comments. He was sort of reading my mind as I was trying to get through on the technical difficulties. I think that the Civic Club's presentation of the concept of Civic Plaza, to me, really resonated with both of those names, the Civic and the Plaza, coming together. And in some ways, it almost feels like the word civic, it's only a coincidence that it's also the civic club that is generously donating the funds. I feel like, again, those words really resonate with the purpose and place location of this particular location. I would love a way for us to, within that, acknowledge Chief Parker. I don't know a lot about the other chief that Patrick just mentioned. Only have the history for the one that we were talking about tonight before us. But if there is a way to memorialize his contribution in that space, given the historical proximity of the original police department, I think that that would be very apt. Maybe it's a plaque that somehow is located. I don't want to kind of think this, but I would be in support of Civic Plaza for the overall naming, and then some sort of plaque that speaks to the history of a human as well as his connection to that space.
Thank you, Shelby. Mark?
This was a hard one, and I heard a lot of my thoughts already, so I'll try to keep it brief. But the more I learn about Chief Parker, the more I realize that he does need recognition in this town. I don't like the idea of sharing the name. I think that, I don't want to say belittles, but minimizes the contribution of each. And I would like to see something more than a bench named for Chief Parker, but I think I've always advocated for naming things after people. And, I think we should do more of that. But I think the Civic Club, it is all about people. It's a group of people that don't look for personal recognition. And I'm not saying that Chief Parker is by any means, because I think, that's not what I'm saying. But I think that the Civic Club is certainly due some recognition, and given their financial contribution to the space, I think that's a significant factor as well. So I'm leaning towards Civic Plaza, but I would like to see this town come up with an alternative recognition for Chief Parker. Perhaps I like the idea of some type of wall of fame in the plaza, but there's so many people that could be on that. Both Chief Parkers, I could go on and on. Wendy's and back, she could be on there. Nancy Yendriga. I don't want to start naming it, because certainly I don't know everybody in town that's contributed over the course of history, but Marjorie could probably help us with that maybe. So regardless, my point is I'm leaning towards Civic Plaza for this space, but I think we should consider some type of naming, identification of sites to be memorialized with significant local contributors.
Kim has Mary.
Okay, go ahead. You're on speaker.
Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Mary Ellen Parker. And I know it's kind of a dilemma you're in choosing, but I do appreciate you reading my email. That was very nice of you. And I'm sorry that I'm having troubles with my computer here. But I honestly don't have a lot to add to that. I think my email covered everything. And I just appreciate the opportunity to nominate my husband, Glenn. And but it's totally up to the board. So again, I just appreciate giving me the opportunity to nominate him, because I feel, and I think a lot of people that have known him throughout the years feel that he was, I like the idea of doing something to recognize him, but I know that's totally up to you. And I'll be happy with whatever you decide on. So thank you again.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. Appreciate that. So I think from my side, just to hit on it, yeah, it's a difficult decision here, but I'm in support of Civic Plaza. I think one of the emails received hit home for me that they looked at Civic as representing that everyone was invited to it. It's not Civic Club Plaza or Civic Plaza too. And I think, but I do want to recognize the contribution that was made there. And I think it was said is without that, we probably wouldn't be talking right now about even putting a name on that plaza because there would be nothing there to name. I, like you, Patrick, know Chief Parker from being here in town. To your comments, I agree with others. We received 2 very strong submissions for Parker Plaza and whatever. I don't think that for me as a board to go and change those names. I think we have submissions and support from folks doing that. But my support and vote tonight would be for Civic Plaza. Other comments? Shelby. Oops, 1 second, Shelby.
She's just on mute.
Oops.
You say to unmute.
Sorry.
Yep, you're working now.
Too many things to unmute here. I just, from my lens, I just want to be clear. I think that certainly it's really important to recognize the generosity of the Civic Club and obviously what brought us to this place in this discussion. But I also want to emphasize the tie to the Civic Club in the community. So this is not just, in my mind, a very generous donation. Like if an individual had said, I'm going to give this amount and they had no ties for some reason, they said they want to do that, that would be lovely, but I would not feel as connected as I do to the Civic Club and the naming and the tie to this gift. I hope that makes sense.
Yep, thank you. I would entertain a motion from the board.
Move that the select board name the space between 32 and 34 West Main Street Civic Plaza in accordance with the town's naming policy.
Seconded?
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further comments? Not a,
I would just like to thank Ms. Parker for joining us this evening, and she made a very compelling case, and I appreciate her reaching out to us, and I would like us to try and figure out something to do.
Great. Thank you for that. Okay, roll call vote. Shelby, I'll start with you.
Marshall, yes.
Okay, Mark,
Silverberg, yes.
Sean,
Keough, yes.
Patrick,
Welch, yes.
and Johnson, yes. That's 5-0, 5 being present. Thank you, folks. An echo was said. Thank you for folks in the Civic Club. Thank you for Mrs. Parker and others in support of that. Thank you for the numerous folks that wrote us letters of support for both of them. Tough decision, but I think this is the right decision for Westborough. I look forward to moving forward with Civic Plaza. So thank you for that. Could I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, roll call vote. Shelby?
Marshall, yes.
Silverberg, yes.
Keough, yes.
Welch, yes.
And Johnson, yes. Thank you. Oh, perfect. Okay, we do have a joint meeting coming in 9 minutes. I'm going to go back to item 2 on our agenda. And in discussions with the town manager, I asked to put this on there because as the board knows and folks in the public know that a press release was issued by the board last week regarding 231 Turnpike Road, which we've called the former Regal Cinema. For folks to know, a lot of comments and a lot of questions, and I think perhaps some misunderstanding. I know some things were published that talked about the town selling the property, so I thought it might be beneficial just to go further on the record, just to give some more information so folks really understand what has happened through history with this property, which those of us on the board know, and those of us who follow this board know that it's been on our executive session agendas for going on 4 years now, I think. So pretty long time frame. So I do want to just hit some bullet points. So please bear with me. Basically, in January of 2022, the Massachusetts Land Court awarded the town of Westborough judgment in the town's action to foreclose the owner's right of redemption on certain tax title property located at 231 Turnpike Road, which was the former Regal Cinema. In May of 2022, the town issued a request for proposals regarding the sale of the property. In October of that same year, 2022, the select board voted to award the RFP to Lax Media. As a result of certain subsequent legal proceedings concerning the property, the town and Lax Media did not execute a purchase and sale agreement, but Lax Media agreed periodically to hold its bid firm. On April 18th, 2025, the town issued a press release informing the public that the U.S. bankruptcy trustee for Westborough SPE LLC, the prior owner of the property, would engage in a process by which the trustee would market the property for sale. The town and trustee would then review offers submitted to the trustee for the purchase of the property with the goal of identifying a buyer as part of a settlement agreement to be submitted to the bankruptcy court for approval later in the year. On May 15th, 2025, Lax Media notified the town manager that it was no longer willing to hold its bid firm and demanded a return of its earnest money deposit, which the town has done. Given those developments, the ongoing legal proceedings, and the passage of time since the issuance of the RFP, the board voted on June 24th, 2025 to cancel that original RFP. In June of 2025, the bankruptcy trustee marketed the property for sale. The town and trustee then reviewed the offers submitted to the trustee for the purchase of the property with the goal of identifying a buyer as part of a settlement agreement. The offers received range from $3.5 million to $5,111,111.11. A lot of ones there. Those offers included Bakasanwasi Sri Aksha Purushottam Swaminarayan Sen Shantha to develop a house of worship, Pulte Homes of New England to develop multifamily residential, so 55 townhome units, Enjoy 77 Holdings LLC to develop multifamily residential encompassing 250 units, Ferris Development Group LLC to develop mixed use of retail and residential, and Connect United Incorporated to develop a house of worship. The trustee selected the highest bidder, which was Bakas Sanwasi Sri Aksha Purushottam Swaminarayan Sanchha for that $5,111,111.11 to develop a house of worship. This buyer, as some may know, already has a house of worship in Westborough and articulated its intent to sell that property. The buyer represented that as part of its offer, it would sell its existing property to a taxable entity. This commitment was then memorialized in an agreement with the town. The agreement further provides that if the buyer does not sell the existing property within 12 months of closing on 231 Turnpike Road, the buyer will enter into a payment in lieu of taxes agreement for the existing property. Also, as part of the settlement agreement, the town will be reimbursed for expenses incurred, including the full outstanding taxes, fees and interest on the property, and all active litigation between the settling parties will be resolved. And finally, the bankruptcy court will hold a hearing on the proposed settlement on December 17th, 2025. So those were the bullets. I did just want to reiterate and highlight that Again, because of this going into bankruptcy, that it was not the town that had the opportunity to select who would purchase the property, but it was the bankruptcy trustee. And this is going through the bankruptcy court on that hearing on the proposed settlement. So thank you for allowing me to put that in the record. And again, for anybody that has questions, please reach out to the select board and the town manager through our office with any questions. We've got 2 minutes here, so I'm going to move. Oops, if they're here. Right? Yeah, but why don't we jump to item 9, maybe? To dissolve the Westborough Spirit Committee? If folks are okay with that.
Do you want a motion? Sounds good.
Yes.
Move to dissolve the Westborough Spirit Committee.
Seconded.
Okay, any comments or questions?
So I guess if folks aren't aware why we're doing this, the funds that were allocated to the Spirit Committee have now been allocated to a new 250th anniversary committee, which will utilize those funds over the coming year to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States. So.
And just to add, a number of the committee members that formerly served on the Spirit Committee have volunteered to serve on this new committee. But the other reason for dissolving it, we were down to one member on that committee. We couldn't get additional members, so they couldn't hold meetings because we didn't have enough members. So in our view, it made sense to seek to dissolve the committee as well. So with that, roll call vote. Shelby?
Marshall, yes.
Mark?
Silverberg, yes.
Keo, yes.
Welch, yes.
And Johnson, yes. Committee's formally dissolved. Okay, being basically 7 o'clock, as we have posted on our agenda, we're going to convene a joint meeting with the planning board for the purpose of discussion on section 2 of the Boston Worcester Airline Trail, commonly known as BWALT. Ask the board members to come up and join us up front here. We'll squeeze everybody in. Hopefully there are mics.
You didn't bring in nameplates?
Before. Oh, Miss Hazel. Okay.
It's all right.
So having 4 members present, I will, if it's okay with you, I'll formally convene the joint meeting. Christy or Jen, do you want to kick this off? Are you going to kick it off or?
I think you need to open, did you already open?
Yeah,
both
convene the
boards?
meeting of both boards.
Yeah,
so.
I just got.
Do you
my
want to just formally
display is-
open your?
All right. I officially opened the planning board hearing or meeting.
Meeting.
Yep. Not a hearing.
So we are formally convened both boards in a joint meeting.
So just to kind of kick it off, we, at your last meeting, last planning board meeting and select board meeting, you met on the same evening. You both executed a memorandum of understanding in terms of how the two boards are working together. So through that, there was items within that that said that if anything,
She can't hear you. Can you just adjust the mic?
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. So the select board and planning board executed a memorandum of understanding to talk about how the two boards would work together. One of the bullets in that says that when you're moving through a planning process, like we currently are with the BWALT, and there was a change to that it would be brought to the select board to provide comment and then to the planning board to make a decision. However, in the months of November and December this year, because of holidays, we're actually meeting on the same night. And so that's why we've decided that it would be best to meet in a joint meeting for this purpose. So.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Jenny Gingras, Director of Planning, and I'm here to provide the board with an update on BWALT Section 2. Sorry, that's a little better. I know it's missing the thing. And to really outline staff's recommended approach for the next phase of work. You all had received a screenshot from our town's transportation map, which shows the location of Section 2, and you can also see it up here on the screen, and along with the other projects that we have going on, which I highlighted also on the screen. And for the public, this map can be found on the Planning Department webpage under Transportation, if you want to view it and interact to see all of those projects. So at this time, staff is recommending that the town pause continued development of a portion of BWALT Section 2, which is the area circled in red on the map. This recommendation has come from several key considerations. First, talking about grant funding, we applied for a Mass Trails grant intended to support design and advancement of this section of the trail. Unfortunately, as the boards know, we were not awarded that funding. Thank you. That's a little better, I think, right? Unfortunately, we were not awarded that funding. And without it, moving forward with the entire scope of Section 2 would require significantly more local resources. Second, as we've talked about, there are environmental considerations. We've been working with GM2, our engineering consultant. We've conducted a preliminary review of wetland impacts in the central portion of the section, and those findings have shown that further advancement would require much more extensive environmental coordination, analysis, and mitigation than originally anticipated. As part of that review, it also became clear that we would need a more detailed alternatives analysis because of the extent of potential wetland impacts. And then we're also considering the future expansion potential of the wastewater treatment plant. And until we know what the long-term footprint of that expansion might look like, advancing the trail work close to the facility could unintentionally limit future infrastructure opportunities. But I also, as part of this, want to look at the work that's already underway that we feel like will, in the interim, make that connection still between Section 1 and the remaining of Section 2. So we do have the Fisher Street Corridor Project, which is a project that's funded through the Safe Routes to School program, completely funded by MassDOT. The design and the construction will be MassDOT oversees the project, and then the town is part of it in that we can provide input to the design. It's currently in design. Construction is expected in 2028. And MassDOT plans to have a design public hearing for community input in the spring. And then this project, as shown on the map, I'll just go back for a second. You can't see my mouse up there, but where it says the Fisher Street Improvements Project on the bottom, that will provide bicycle and pedestrian connectivity between Otis Street and Milk Street. Because Fisher Street will offer a similar connection in the near term, pausing the most environmentally complex part of Section 2, we don't feel like it reduces access or mobility. We're also making strong progress on BWALT Section 1, which is part of the Otis Street Corridor project. That's planned to go out to bid any day now, with construction hopefully starting in the spring. Section 1 connects to Smith Valve Parkway, which then connects to Fisher Street via the new MassDOT pedestrian bridge. And this creates another connection already moving forward, and then again supports the same mobility goals, even while part of Section 2 is temporarily paused. So again, I just want to go back to just show everybody where this the Fisher Street project is. It's approximately, this is, I believe it's 44 Fisher Street, and then it travels along Fisher Street and to the Church Street, Milk Street intersection. That's proposed to be an 8-foot shared use path, which is similar to what we're proposing for the B-wall, although the B-wall will most likely be wider than the 8 feet. It can be used by pedestrians, bicyclists, anybody for that purpose. And I want to emphasize before I go into this next one that, and I'll go back to the this slide here that shows the map. This recommendation is not a proposal to change or reroute the B-wall alignment. The long-term vision for the trail remains intact. And I also want to acknowledge the strong advocacy and progress from the Friends of the B-Walt group. They've been having a lot of meetings, and I know that they've been able to gather broad community support. And then also the advocacy from the ATSC, the Active Transportation and Safety Committee, and then also the broad community support the project has received for many years. We also know that some community members have expressed concerns about potential impacts. And then we just want to acknowledge that once we move forward with development of this portion of Section 2, we will need to revisit, mitigation of any impacts and do further evaluation. And then I also, as part of this presentation, want to highlight the internal work done by town staff that goes into these projects. We work closely with professional consultants and engineers who have extensive trail experience statewide. We also coordinate regularly with MassDOT to understand technical comments, regulatory consideration, and potential constraints. So we understand that a safe, feasible, and well-integrated design requires significant technical review, and that work is ongoing. So what we're proposing tonight, we're essentially trying to do strategic sequencing. We're proposing to advance the portions of Section 2 that are the most feasible right now, while temporarily pausing the segment that requires additional design development, environmental permitting, and coordination with the future infrastructure planning, such as the wastewater treatment plant. Work will continue on other areas of Section 2, including the areas near 161 Milk Street and 220 Turnpike Road. And that is up to the planning board, of course, which we can talk about at a later meeting per the memorandum of agreement. And we can decide on the next round of funding. So going to the funding, where we're at on BWALT Section 2, our contract with GM2 is not to exceed the amount of $562,694 about. We received our last invoice on October 30th, and so the remaining amount is about $10,000. And then again, the planning board can decide at a later meeting if we're pursuing grant funding on the remaining portion of Section 2 through Mass Trails or otherwise. We're also looking ahead on how the town's upcoming active transportation plan can help us identify and strengthen these future connections. As you all know, We received a grant recently through EOHLC with the state for $130,000 to hire a consultant to work with us on an active transportation plan. So that will help us to identify other connections to the B-Wall from other corridors and neighborhoods. So what we're looking for, what we're asking the boards is for an agreement to pause continued development of the portion of B-Walt Section 2 as I presented. And just want to reiterate again that this is not a proposal to change or reroute the B-Walt alignment. The long-term vision for the trail remains intact. And we would like to continue to work on the other areas of Section 2, including the areas near 161 Milk and 220 Turnpike Road. So happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Can you go back to the map again? And just for all of us, can you just, are there portions of Section 2, is it the yellow portion on Otis Street that's part of the Otis Street?
That's section 1.
Yeah, so Section 2 begins when you get off of Otis Street.
Okay.
So it starts at the area near Sassacus Drive.
Okay, so nothing to be done there. It really is the end piece up to the top on Milk
It
Turnpike.
would be the end piece at Meadow Road and Milk Street. So the area on Milk Street, we could still work on if the planning board decides to, pursue future grant funding. And then 160, go up 161 Milk and you can't
Okay.
see my mouse. I'm sorry.
Nope.
I don't have my pointer.
No, it's just the things there, so that makes sense now. So B-Walt Section 1 is the whole Otis Street, part of that, the Otis Street corridor project, but then going down to the commuter rail, as you said, the Fisher Street, the Smithville Parkway, the Fisher Street Bridge. And then where it connects is basically, I guess, at Park Street to B-Walt Section 3. Is that where that?
Yes,
Begins
it
at
connects at Park Street
Okay.
and Route 9.
Just to orient the
Yeah.
public and myself to that. That's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
I got open my board for questions?
Sure. Why don't
Okay.
you open it for select board first?
Okay.
Well, I've long been a proponent of the Fisher Street corridor as a bike and pedestrian route. I do think there's some improvements that still need to be done. We have that section from the Assabet Bridge on Fisher Street to Otis Street that there's two intersections, Maynard and Mill Road. It's not the safest section for bikes. I'm wondering if we need to look at what type of improvements we might need to look at for that section. We also have now a consideration of trying to connect from 161 Milk down to Fisher Street and potential striping on Milk Street, whether it be, again, these are future considerations that we need to account for somewhere. I'd like to see, I do think the section from Otis to the new pedestrian bridge is a pretty quiet section of Fisher Street, so I don't know that we need to do a lot there. But there's some exciting potential beyond that Fisher Street as far as potentially striping down Church Street, so to make that safer for bikes and pedestrians or for bicyclists. And then getting across, that Fisher Street, Church Street, Milk Street intersection is not the safest crossing. And I think there's a potential to improve that crossing and get to Water Street and under the Water Street Bridge. And then even further down the road, extending the Toll Brothers, Westborough Village bike path up to Target Fields and connecting Target Fields to downtown. So, these are all things I've thought of, but for now, I'm excited about this. This is a good start. And, I think we just need to figure out, I think there's a few things we need to to deal with to make this a safer route.
So some of the things that you're talking about, Mark, are actually already proposed in the long-term plan, which you haven't seen yet, but you will see that in January as we've been forecasting. I think one of the things that Jenny and other staff and we talked about a lot of what you're talking about, which is creating that full connection. And that, I think, was just to go back to that MOU, is what Jenny was saying, is that the process that we've laid out is that Jenny and her team would bring that to the planning board. The planning board would decide whether or not they wanted to pursue it. Then there's a check-in point right after that with the select board so that it can be presented and also talk about funding, potentially letters of support if we're talking about grants. And then the planning board is off with likely a designee of mine. So I think we have a great process for that that we've laid out. And then we also, a lot of that is within the long-term plan. So I think it's great that we're all on the same page.
Great. Other folks on the board?
No, I appreciate you bringing this forward and outlining that there are actually a lot of active projects still going on. It wasn't all just BWALT. I'm excited that we've got, and I think we're going to talk about it shortly after this, about the Otis Street project. I think that is in everything involved there. It happens to also be the first section of the BWALT, but that project is a lot more than that, and just going to have a tremendous impact or ability to support the town and all the businesses on that side of town, and is a tremendous priority. So I am fully on board with what you brought forward. I'm what?
So if you're with Mike.
I guess I'll just talk louder. I'm on board with holding off on the second section of the BWALT. I was just saying I'm very excited for the first section in the Otis Street Corridor project. It involves widening that road and being able to really support the businesses along Otis Street that right now are having a lot of difficulty with traffic. And
We definitely can't hear.
so, but in general, I'll just say thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Just a brief comment. First of all, thank you to Jenny and the planning board for being here tonight. And I don't want to repeat all the issues. I'll just say that I am very supportive of the logic that's being applied here. There's a number of concerns with the second segment, and I think this will give the opportunity for the planning board to do that work whenever it's needed in the future to do that. I think I said it back this last summer about I think there's a great opportunity, and this connection or eventual connection from that Fisher Street Improvement Project all the way up to Otis Street is I think it's the right thing to do, and it makes a lot of sense. And just logically, when you look at a map, you say that makes sense. So I'm very appreciative of the work, and I look forward to seeing it move forward. So thank you.
Great. Shelby?
Ditto to everything the board has said. Thank you.
Perfect. I would just echo that I'm supportive of the pause as explained. I think it makes sense. Because we don't have funding for that piece yet, but I apologize to the public here. But appreciate you coming forward, and I'm excited about the other two projects. We've got a lot going on and planned in town. This just makes sense. Thank you for bringing it forward to us. Turn it over to John.
All right. Any comments from the planning board or questions? Caroline?
No questions. I think it looks great. Excited to be able to move forward with the project, and yeah.
Great. Chris?
No questions.
John?
Nothing further.
I just have the one question. Have we gotten any feedback from Mass Trails specifically with, if we build out our trail network a little bit more, will that make future applications for phase 2 or BWALT funding more attractive, stronger towards Mass Trails to make those like final connections? Have we heard any feedback from them, or is that something that we've Any comments?
Yeah, I mean, the feedback from Mass Trails was essentially what we thought, that because of the funding constraints, they received less money than they had anticipated, and so they wanted to make sure it was equitable for other towns that maybe hadn't received funding in the past. But we did have a great application. Mass Trails is aware of the BWALT through many efforts by other committees, and then just the previous applications that we've had. And so overall, they're very supportive. I don't know if connections to other areas would help specifically for future grant applications, but I don't think they would hurt. I think showing that we're trying to make those connections to other areas in town and connect the BWALT to other areas of town is substantial.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited about the Fisher Street project specifically because it gives another route into downtown. So I think that's going to be a really good project. So thank you.
Great. Anything else for the joint meeting? Was this the only agenda item?
I think
No.
it's the only agenda item. I think we were looking for a vote from both boards. Jenny had it up on one of her
Yeah, I can
slides.
put it back up. So again, we're not pausing the BWALT. I just want to make sure that's absolutely clear. And we're not pausing all of section 2. We're just saying that portion of section 2 definitely needs some more work, but we are asking if we could pause that part of section 2, and then the planning board, at our next meeting, we'll plan an agenda item. Well, it's up to the chair to set the agenda, but we'll most likely set an agenda item to talk about what this future of section 2 looks like in the near term. But we're asking the boards tonight for an agreement on that recommendation from staff, that we pause the continued development of the portion of BWALT section 2 from Otis Street to Milk Street.
Ian, would you like a motion?
Yeah, let's just make a motion. Please.
Sure. So I move to pause the continued development of the portion of the Rewalt Section 2 as presented, to support the long-term vision for the trails. The trails remain intact, and continue the work on other areas of Section 2, including the areas near 161 Milk Street and 220 Turnpike Road.
Second?
Okay, any further comment from the select board? Not roll call vote. Shelby?
Marshall, yes.
Patrick?
Yes. Oh, well, yes.
Keo, yes.
Silverberg, yes.
And Johnson, yes. John, I'll turn to you.
And yeah, and from the planning board, can I have a similar motion, or we can just move that same motion?
Move that same motion.
Second.
All in favor? That's 4-0.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Jenny, thank you to the planning board too. Appreciate you.
And do we have to vote to adjourn? All right,
It's not a
do we have
hearing,
a
no.
motion to adjourn the planning board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Planning board meeting's adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you. I will not accept the motion to adjourn the select board meeting. We still got things to do.
Read my mind.
We're way ahead of schedule now, but thank you all for that. Much appreciated. And I will, can I try?
Okay, can you hear me?
Just use the phone.
Did you turn off there?
Oh, you think we have it? So
Okay.
So I'm going to hang up on you then.
Okay, Shelby, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, thank you. So you're back on normal computer.
No. Yes. All right. Thanks everyone for their patience. And if I just may, people wonder like, why is Shelby not there? Just dealing with some family caregiving issues. So appreciate the board's gratitude and the ability to do this so that I can help my parents.
Thank you, Shelby. Thank you for participating remotely. with all that you're doing there. So I will formally reconvene the select board meeting and move us to item 6 on our agenda, which is the MassDOT agreement for Otis Street corridor and Route 9 intersection project.
Chris Pant is planning to be here. He's just not here yet.
So I will not
sorry.
call for that. So
We are never early.
It is.
are there other things on the agenda that we're waiting for folks just because we're early?
Do you want to wait for? Okay. So Jen Miller was planning to come after the Conservation Commission meeting, but Jen Kirkland has offered to do that on her own. And then I think we can also do number 7. So 7, 8, 10, 11, and 12 are all available, are all ready.
Okay. So let's move forward then. Let's skip over 6. We'll go to 7, which is the Silver Hollow Road acceptance, Bard Hollow Drive, Blue Heron Court, and Meadowlark Lane.
So this is, the board has had several votes on this, as happens with the acceptance of roads. Most recently, so just to recap, at the September 30th meeting, the board heard from the developer regarding a request to include the road acceptance on Article 12. The board voted to adopt the layout of the public way, and the acceptance of the plans and deeds were reviewed and approved by DPW Engineering. And then at the October 21st town meeting, the town voted to accept roadway acceptance of Silver Hollow Estates. The planning board also made their required votes within that time frame. So now the board has the action to formally accept the roads and to authorize the acceptance related to deeds and easements. So you have in your packet a motion that was developed by town council pursuant to the vote taken under Article 12 of the October 21st town meeting.
I would entertain a motion.
I'll move to pursuant to the vote taken under Article 12 of the October 21st, 2025 special town meeting to accept from Silver Hollow Estates LLC deeds and easements to use Meadowlark Lane, Bard Owl Drive, and Blue Heron Court as public ways and for access and utility purposes, and to execute and to authorize the chair to execute on behalf of the select board any acceptances, orders, and or agreements as may be necessary or appropriate to accomplish the foregoing.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or comments from the board?
I'll just comment, I want to thank Steve Rosenfeld from Silver Hollow Estates for coming up in case we had any questions for him. I know it's a pretty good trip, Steve, so thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, if not, the motion's been moved and seconded. Go to a roll call vote. Shelby?
Marshall, yes.
Mark?
Silverberg, yes.
Keo, yes?
Welch, yes.
And Johnson, yes. So that is 5-0 in favor of the motion. And thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Long process, but
Good timing.
it's now accepted as public way. I will work to get that executed as per the motion.
So we do have the documents. Amanda's just was sitting downstairs because of some of our difficulties. So we'll have that for you at the end of the meeting.
Okay, perfect. Okay, let's move to, you want to go forward with item 8 or you want to wait and we can do a couple others just to see if there's time? Your call.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go to, we'll hold off on item 8 for now, just to see if she can make it. Let's go to item 10, which is authorize execution of amended and restated agreement for health insurance coverage with all town and school unions.
Mr. Chair, I will need to recuse myself as a result of my wife working for the town.
Thank you, Board Member Welch.
This is really a housekeeping item. We currently have in place a number of MOAs, agreements with the various unions, both the town and the school, related to changes we've made in related to health insurance. A number of aspects of health insurance are subject to bargaining an agreement with our unions. So we have over 10 years of agreements, and this is really just a housekeeping item to consolidate them into a single document, just for ease of reference. As an agreement is amended, there are aspects of the old agreement that survive, new aspects are in the new agreement, and so we have 5 or 6 of those that we have consolidated into a single agreement. We did take this to our insurance advisory committee 2 weeks ago. They were in favor, and so following, if the board votes to authorize the town manager to execute the agreement, we would execute this with each of the unions. Again, it's restating what already exists for the most part. There's one minor change. When we renewed our health and dental plans July 1st, the maximum benefit under the dental plan actually increased, and that was not reflected in the document, so that minor change is in here as well. Yeah, and that is fully employee paid. It's just the function of the plan design increased.
The benefit.
Yeah.
Okay. And sorry, I think I heard you say that, but the Insurance Advisory Committee, when they met, they voted to recommend.
They did recommend adoption
Okay,
of this,
adoption.
yes.
Okay. Any questions?
Could you just clarify what MOA stands for?
Oh, Memorandum of Agreement.
So I thought it would be something like that.
Yeah.
Based upon how it was used. It was never spelled out for me, so.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Not, is there a motion?
Move to authorize the town manager to execute the amended and restated agreement for health insurance coverage between the town of Westborough and each of the town and school bargaining units.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Roll call vote. Shelby?
Marshall, yes.
Mark?
Silverberg, yes.
Keo, yes.
And Johnson, yes. That's a vote of 4-0. 4 members being present, with Board Member Welch recusing himself from the discussion. Thank you. Welcome back, Patrick.
You going to the next one?
Yes, you need to do that too, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, next we're going to go to item 11 on the agenda, which is personnel policies and employee handbook. I turn it back to Board Member Welch.
Give me an opportunity to come up and get my drink. I have to recuse myself again for the same purpose. My wife working as a member of the town staff. So thank you.
Okay.
So the update of the personnel policies and employee handbook is something that has been a goal. I think actually last year as well as this year, we have spent a lot of time looking at similar documents from other communities, making sure that we're including all of the items that we need to include, and also doing some reorganization so that things are a little bit easier to communicate the policies and procedures available to our employees. And so this has been fully reviewed by town council as well. The board was provided the sort of primary document in October. And then we did answer some questions on an individual basis. And so you'll see in your packet that there are a couple changes from when you originally received the document, but the majority of it has remained the same. I will note that the appendices is incorporated by reference. They're existing policies that have been approved over the last several years. And as noted to the board, the intent is to have approved this primary document and then work through the updating of the appendices or the individual policies. Those are very different from what you're approving here because some of them are pointed to by collective bargaining agreements. So they would include impact bargaining, review by unions, review by the board. So we're taking that on sort of a separate or a second step.
Great. Thank you. Any questions or comments?
If I may.
Yep, go ahead, Shelby. And then Mark.
So Christy, Yeah, Christine, once, assuming this is approved tonight, where would this live on our website? And will the appendices be available, as part of that, understanding that those are current policies?
We would likely put it under the select board's policies page, and then it would also be distributed internally. The appendices, because they're incorporated by reference and are already approved, so have already been signed off on by all of our employees as they are hired, would be incorporated again as the appendices in their current form. Understanding that in the next few meetings, we would be updating those with the board and the union.
But the Shelby's questions, so those will be kind of attached when it
Yeah.
gets posted
Yep.
on the select board site.
I think, yeah.
Okay, great, yeah, as long as those will be available, just,
Yep.
that's great, thank you, that was my one question.
Thank you, Mark.
So I went through this a while ago and gave my suggestions, but I went through it again and found some more. Just a couple. On page 21, last paragraph. The first sentence is employees that are members of an armed forces reserve unit which is required to attend annual training, the town will pay the difference. Can we make that a sentence? Should it be
I'm not
for-
at that page yet,
Okay,
so.
sorry. I think it should say for employees. Again, I'm a grammar freak, so.
I don't see what you're.
The last paragraph on page 21, the first sentence. I don't think that is a sentence. I think it should say for employees that are members of an armed force reserve unit.
Add the word for.
FOR to the beginning.
Sorry. Sorry, I don't know why this is jumping around. On page 26, the last paragraph, it says an employee deemed to be incapacitated by a work-related injury and then this next sentence says until a determination is made regarding the work-relatedness of an injury. So should it be an employee claiming to be incapacitated? I don't know who's deeming them incapacitated.
The doctor and the insurance company. What are you suggesting?
They may be incapacitated, but it's incapacitated by a work-related injury. I don't think that determination is made until afterwards.
What are you, can you say again what you're suggesting?
I think it should be an
change?
employee claiming to be incapacitated by a work-related injury.
Okay.
Is that correct, though?
I don't know. Town council reviewed it and was fine with it, but I don't know. So we can make the change and then come back if it's.
I don't know
needs to be-
I think they have to be deemed to be incapacitated.
Yeah, I don't think it's claiming to be.
To receive pay. They can't just claim to be incapacitated to receive pay.
All right, it's the by a work-related injury. I just feel like.
But I think it
But
goes back up
that's
to
what the
the,
determination is made is whether or not it's work related.
Yeah.
That's the second
All
sentence.
right, I think we can leave that.
Okay.
Page 29, the first paragraph. It says every town employee will be reviewed annually, and then it says individual employee evaluations are the day-to-day responsibility.
Yes.
So are there two separate processes there, one annual and one day-to-day? I'm just a little confused, but
It's just that the department head is responsible for evaluation. I mean, it's not a written evaluation day to day. It's evaluating work on a day to day basis.
okay. All right, I think I can understand that.
I'm sorry, Mark, what section was that in, please?
I think it was page 29, the first paragraph.
Okay, thank you.
And then my last question, I believe. On section 12.2, workforce adjustments on page
39.
Is it 39? I don't know. Page 39, you're right. Says, last sentence in paragraph 1 says, however, if a reduction is made in a group of employees with similar qualifications and who perform the same work, the employee with the least seniority will be affected first. So job performance is not a criteria, it's seniority.
Yes.
Is that traditional?
I believe that was existing language and that it's consistent with.
So if you have two identical employees and we have to cut a position, the job performance would not factor, it would only be seniority?
It's consistent with how our unions' bargaining agreements are set up as well.
Okay, well, far be it from me to contest the unions. All right, I think that was the last one I had. Thank you.
Great. Anything else from any board member?
Just a clarifying question, Christy, on the appendices, you said kind of goals to update them in the next few months, but I heard you say earlier there's a collective bargaining impact, et cetera, which, obviously that adds to the time. It's just not the board approving the policies. So is a few months realistic, or are we really talking kind of, to be safe, something more like 6 months?
I think a few months is realistic. I mean, certainly if there's a change that is significant and impactful, there could be additional need for meetings, but I don't see it as I don't anticipate it being an issue. I don't know. I mean, if we want to, if we're concerned about the difference between 3 and 6 months, then I would say 6 months, because I guess it could be, but I don't expect it to take that long.
Yeah, no, I think you set the context here that you set context, so that's fine. Thank you.
I just had one final thing. Can we just check before you post on the table of contents? A couple of questions. It looks like Article 3 goes to starting on page 10, but then the 3 subsections are pages 7, 7, and 8.
Okay.
And then also on the next page under Article 5, the first section 5.1.
Yeah, we'll check the whole thing.
Yeah, just to make sure the pages are correct. Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve the personnel policies and employee handbook as presented with the one minor change.
Second.
Okay, anything further? Not roll call vote, Shelby?
Marshall, yes.
Vogelberg, yes.
Keo, yes.
And Johnson, yes, 4-0. 4 being present with Select Board Member Welch recusing himself from discussion and vote. Great, and it looks like our waiting paid off. Mistaken, so we'll move back to item 8 if
6.
Sure. I didn't see Chris there too. You okay waiting for another? Yep. Thank you for pointing that out. Sorry I didn't recognize you, Chris. So item 6 is the Mass DOT agreement for Otis Street corridor and Route 9 intersection project. So
Good evening, Chris Payant, Director of Public Works. I think it was mentioned earlier that we have a project we think will get underway next year on Otis Street, basically from the Route 9 intersection to about 50 Otis Street, the Amazon properties roughly. Part of that project is in the state layout, so it's under Mass DOT's jurisdiction, the Route 9 essentially intersection. So we've been working with Mass DOT for the past year to get a permit that will allow us to incorporate that into our bid package, and then hopefully soon allow us to put that project out to bid. A requirement of the permit is to establish this agreement, which is a pretty standard document for Mass DOT, and it outlines, as you probably read, some division of work and discusses some expenses and then ownership of some property once the project's complete. So the street light or the traffic signal at Route 9 and Otis Street is owned and will be owned at the completion of this project by Mass DOT. There's a new traffic signal that's going to be installed at the Target driveway that will be owned by the town. That's outlined in this document. It also discusses expenses. This project was taken on by the town. It's being paid for by money from a variety of different entities outside of the town, but ultimately the town has responsibility for that, and that's what this document outlines. And then there's some specific language that they need included in the bid documents, and that's also identified in this document. So what we're looking for is your concurrence with this agreement, so that whether you or maybe it's the town manager will sign the document, we'll submit it to Mass DOT, and hopefully that will help us get this permit that we're waiting on from them completed.
Great. Any questions from the board?
Yeah, Ian,
Yep.
maybe Chris mentioned it. Has this been reviewed by council?
No, it has not been reviewed by council.
Typically, when we get agreements from the state, because as Chris mentioned, they are standard agreements, we don't send them back through council. So it has not. I think Chris has highlighted for you some of the things that the town might be more concerned about, specifically, the expenses. But the town, as you know, has had partnership with the state in terms of expenses. We just recently received, or we're told that we will receive the additional $2 million for the project. So in terms of how this, it's more of a policy decision for the board rather than being concerned with legality in terms of how this is written.
And, just a follow-on question, Chris, you read my mind just in terms of the additional funding. If for some reason that additional funding doesn't materialize as we would anticipate, as you've outlined, where does that leave us given this agreement?
I think that we are signing up for that cost, but given what we have done in terms of the design, we anticipate that the funding that we currently have will cover the cost. Certainly once we get the bid documents back, if we don't have enough funding, that's a discussion that we'll have to have. It also doesn't preclude us from going back to the state for additional grants. It just means that if something were to come up, it would sort of be the town's responsibility to figure out that additional funding piece. But again, doesn't mean that we can't pursue other opportunities.
I guess if I can, Ian?
Yep.
So a question on the timing, kind of to dovetail on to what Shelby was asking, I think. There's a comment in regards to, in the agreement itself, talking about that we must complete the work within 1 year unless Mass DOT grants an extension. If I remember correctly, the Lyman Street intersection, similar intersection, took more than a year to complete. Is that a normal? I mean, this is a normal, you said it's a normal agreement with the state, but It just seems like this is a very complex intersection, and especially with the additional traffic light that Lyman Street doesn't have that's being proposed here. How does that work? And, if we see along the way, again, to dovetail into Shelby's question, that there are additional costs along the way as a result of any sort of delay that takes us beyond the year, how does that all work out?
So for the timeline, it's totally a reasonable observation because we said the same thing to Mass DOT. We went back and forth with them about it. They're pretty set on this template, which says 1 year. They acknowledged, as we know, it's going to be more than a year because if it's signed tonight, it won't be done by November of next year. So they just said, when the time comes, you just submit your extension, which is typical for lots of other things we do with Mass DOT. Ideally, they would just make it longer in the original agreement, but they're not willing to do that. So we'll be going back to them for an extension.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. If I remember correctly, we had the separate project over on Flanders, and I believe we received extensions for
We
that for that project. So.
Yeah, I believe more than one in Flanders.
Yes, multiple. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, but it is the state.
Can we just get it done in under a year?
That would be wonderful.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be nice. This is
Talking
huge.
about this
and
for at
it's-
least 4 years.
Well, that intersection
Oh, it's-
and Otis Street, it's going to make things a whole lot better and a whole lot safer.
It needs to be done.
Yeah. Motion?
Move to approve the Mass DOT and Town of Westborough agreement for the reconstruction of traffic signals and geometric improvements at Route 9 and Otis Street, and authorize the chair to execute the agreement on behalf of the board.
Seconded. Nice emphasis on geometric improvements.
Okay, moved and seconded. Roll call vote. Shelby?
Marshall, yes.
Mark?
Silverberg, yes.
Keo, yes.
Welch, yes.
And Johnson, yes. 5-0, 5 being present.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming a little early. Sorry we're going too quickly. Okay, next, moving to item number 8, open space and recreation plan with our recreation and conservation directors here. So thank you for being here.
Is that up on a screen somewhere?
Maybe we should just switch the.
Sorry. Thanks.
There you go.
Yay.
Nice.
Thank you for having us. My name is Jen Kirkland. I'm the Recreation Director, and
Jennifer Miller, Conservation Director.
we were here before you about a month ago with a more in-depth presentation on the open space and rec plan. We showed you the timeline and everything that was involved in this plan. And so we're here tonight. And when we were here last time, we had just gotten the final version of the open space and rec plan, and we didn't feel it was enough time. You didn't have enough time to review it properly to ask for your support at that time. So tonight we're here just to ask you to support the plan as one of the final steps in finalizing and submitting the plan to the state. But just as a quick overview, the Open Space and Rec Plan is a community planning tool that demonstrates how the town can conserve open space, create more recreational opportunities, and outlines places that we can improve our ADA. It's used for planning purposes and to secure grant funding. The plan identifies 5 goals, and within those 5 goals, there are 10 top priorities. And the plan is good. This is a change. It used to only be good for 7 years, and now it is good for 10 years. So we won't have to go through this process for another 10 years. These were the 5 goals that were identified. I won't read through all of them, but those were the 5 goals that were identified through some pretty extensive public outreach. So we had multiple meetings with various stakeholders and the public at large. And within these 5 goals, if, as you saw in the plan, are priorities that are identified within those goals. So again, tonight, we're just looking for a letter of support. We, like I said, we went to the planning board and we garnered their support. The plan will ultimately live with the planning board, but this is one, like I said, one of the final pieces. Happy to answer any questions if you have any.
I don't really have anything substantial to add to that. I think the presentation we gave a month ago kind of went through it in a lot more detail. The Conservation Commission is also issuing a letter of support, and we have a few other minor documents to do with like workplace standards and those sort of things that we need to gather. But basically, the final letters of support are needed in order to submit the package to the state.
Great, thank you. Open it up to board members for any questions and or comments.
I'll just quickly say I really appreciate the work. I was in one of the early sessions and the conversations that were had. I certainly appreciate, I just did a quick calculation, 358-page document with a wealth of knowledge in it. So it's actually interesting to read. You can get some really good information out of it in regards to the town and the open spaces in the community. So thank you. Kudos to the team for pulling this together and doing this work. Very supportive of it. Thank you.
Any other comments? Mark?
So I thought the plan itself was wonderful, and I appreciate all the work you did on it. It's a much better version of the plan than the last one, I think. But when I look on page 4 at the list of committees or boards adopting and endorsing the plan, I don't see the Open Space Committee, and I'm just wondering if that, will they be added, or is there a plan to get their support of this plan at some point?
Mark, I think they're on there. They're in the 3rd grouping under Westborough Board Partners, Open Space Preservation Committee. Is that the one you're looking for?
No, I'm on page 4.
Plan adoption.
Okay, I was looking at page 3. Sorry. Oh, okay, I see what you're, yeah.
And then the membership of the planning board and the select board has changed. You have, I mean, just, that's, okay, nitpicking, but I'm just wondering if open space will be included.
Yeah, so I think we can certainly get a letter of support and present to the Open Space Preservation Committee. It's not one of the required letters of support from the state, but we can certainly do that. I don't think that would cause an extreme delay for us at this point in the process.
I don't want to delay it anymore. It's ready to go.
Yeah, I know back to Mark's point that, you know, it's a work in progress, so there are names that were acknowledged and other things. I don't know if they have to be updated because they were in place at a time. I don't have an issue either way. Look to you guys to decide, but. Yeah.
We can talk to the consultant too.
Yeah, I think it's not a big deal to go through and make those changes.
Okay.
I don't really care which board I'm listed under, but I just want Caroline Regan to get credit in there somewhere because she's on the planning board now. So.
Well, I do think it makes sense because there are some dates on that page. So it should coincide with whatever dates when it was approved.
Yep. Thanks, Shelby.
Yep, that's a good point.
Sean?
That was my point. I just don't want anyone to think I'm doing
And it sounds like that's fine. Yep.
Good catch.
Pointing that out from my own personal.
No, it makes sense.
I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay.
Move to authorize the select board chair to sign a letter of support for the 2025 to 2035 open space and recreation plan for the town of Westborough.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Roll call vote. Shelby?
Marshall, yes.
Mark?
Silverberg, yes.
Keough, yes.
Welch, yes.
And Johnson, yes. 5-0, 5 being present. So we'll get that letter of support to you. Thank you very
so
much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Okay. Do we do the minutes? Yep, let's move to the item 12, meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of November 4th and November 7th.
Seconded.
Yep.
Okay, seconded by Board Member Welsh. Okay, any comments, corrections? Okay, roll call vote. Shelby?
Give me just 1 second. I thought I had something, sorry.
Oh.
Trying to juggle screens here. Yeah, I'm fine. Marshall, yes.
Silverberg, yes.
Keo, yes.
Welch, yes.
And Johnson, yes. 5 in favor, 5 being present.
Thank you very much for creating those minutes. Thorough as always.
Yep. Okay, next, item 13, Town Manager Report. We have in front of us here.
Yep. So we have been continuing to work on the fiscal 27 budget, which is due to be distributed on December 21st. And then also the capital plan. So the capital expenditure planning committee met for the first time last week and heard requests from the finance department and information technology department. The next meeting is tomorrow, Wednesday, November 18th at 5 p.m. Last week, the finance director and I met with Westborough TV to go over their FY27 anticipated budget. As folks are aware, last year, the town did approve a raise and appropriate for Westborough TV. So this meeting was also used as an opportunity to address the FY27, actually let's just say 26, town manager goal to work with Westborough TV to enhance town communication. So we discussed ideas that that had been offered by department heads at a previous department head meeting. And we anticipate further discussion after they have a chance to go back and talk with their staff about what we might do. But really great discussion, as would be expected. I also had the opportunity to meet with Dave Bagnon from Community Advocate last week to discuss ways in which the town and the newspaper may enhance its partnership and provide information to the community. So again, really good discussion, great opportunity. So thanks to Dave for that. I'm going to steal Sean's thunder a little bit here. The 250th American Revolution Anniversary Committee met yesterday for the first time. The meeting was broadcast and recorded on Westborough TV if folks want to watch it. We invited Sheila Green, who is the American Revolution 250th Anniversary Coordinator through the Mass Executive Office of Economic Development. She came and presented to the committee about all of the great work that the State Commission has done and gave some ideas about how the town might get involved. So the committee is excited and is planning to meet weekly on Mondays going forward.
Thanks for agreeing to do that. Weekly.
We also, What's New Westborough newsletter, we were putting out as a quarterly newsletter with the reduction of staff in fiscal 26. We have not been able to regularly put that out, but we've been trying to do sort of interim sheets to give people updates and summary. So yesterday we published the What's New Westborough, again, community meeting edition. So Amanda put this together and to just give folks some upcoming important dates. So that has been, that was sent out through our website and then also posted to social media. Also wanting to note, the board had several questions at your last meeting for the post road proponent. So Tom Montelli sent the board an email with responses to all of the questions that were raised and had been conveyed to the planning board. So both the planning board and the select board received responses to all of those comments. For department head updates, the police department has completed background checks and evaluations for 2 employees, prospective police officers. Both have met all of the requirements and are anticipated to be appointed in late December. Following their appointments, they'll go to the Worcester Police Academy in January. There's also a conditional offer that's been extended on a lateral transfer to fill the position that was established through the COPS hiring grant that the board voted to accept at your last meeting. The candidate will be appointed and begin the department's field training program. In the health department, the new location at the transfer station has received final approval from the Department of Environmental Protection. So we look forward to moving ahead with the next steps to make this positive and safe for Westborough residents. Household Hazardous Waste Day was on October 11th with 210 households participating. And the next one is scheduled for September 29th, 2026, which will be a Tuesday evening from 4 to 8 at the Department of Public Works. It's also permitting season for the health department. So food, sushi, mobile food, tobacco, tanning, warehouses, churches, septic, all being collected and processed for the January 1st permit year. The DPW water leak repair on Old North Street resulted in over 150,000 gallons of drinking water loss per day being eliminated. The leak was identified as a result of deliberate inspection of a stormwater drain pipe where the water was collecting. The complex and costly repair required contractor support over several days. And despite the expensive repair, the value of this repair in dollars and water supply savings has already proven to be substantial. There's grant funded work to install a new crossing location along West Main at Haywood Drive. It's nearing completion. The work came in under budget, so additional improvements were made at Ward Lane, authorized through the Shared Streets program. So it's a $48,000 grant. In the last 6 months, the town has received over $1.2 million from PFAS litigation settlements. Bowman Lane is expected to be open to traffic. This is a separate one. No later than the beginning of December, when the new culvert is installed. Installation of drainage structures and restoration of the road are ongoing. The assistant director of the DPW and the tree warden presented at the fall conference of the Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissions. They were invited to present the DPW's pre-flood mitigation SOP, or standard operating procedure, and was well received by commission members and conservation agents in attendance. And that's it.
Great. That was a lot. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to.
Can I just ask a
Sure, go ahead,
clarifying
Shelby.
question, because I don't have it in front of me? Christy, you said the crossing improvements, Haywood Drive, and what was the other one? Was there some additional funding?
Ward Lane.
Ward Lane.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, issues and correspondence of the select board. Patrick.
So wanted to report to the board and the community. I attended the board bagels with the board this morning. Had a 90-minute session. 8 residents were there. The discussion focused around Regal, the Post Road Development project. Coincidentally, Bowman Lane was a question, and the culvert. So great to hear some updates on that. Taxes, of course, and the form of government was also brought up as a topic. So great conversation, and again, it lasted about 90 minutes. A couple of things that happened in the senior center over the weekend. The Westborough Senior Center Supporter Holiday Fair was a big success. A great turnout. I was the cheesemonger. I do need to find out who placed me in front of the 2 posters of the new community center. It was actually great because it brought a lot of conversation, and I could talk to people about it if they had questions. I'd also like to just express a recognition to Bunny Perrin and the Boston Post cane ceremony that was held yesterday, as being the oldest resident of Westborough, being 104 years old. Wonderful woman, great to talk to her, and great to see the turnout for such a wonderful event. The wastewater treatment plant meeting has been postponed until December, so more information when that comes. Sustainable Westborough is currently working on an updated presentation to present to the board. I think we're targeting December 2nd, so Ian, hopefully you'll see that coming your way to get on to it. We're actually meeting tomorrow to go over that presentation again. And also last week, the Capital Expenditures Committee had its first meeting where we reviewed and had presentations from IT, Finance, and the Town Clerk. And what's up next, I think it's tomorrow, is the Police and Recreation, Golf departments. And we're on target, thanks to Christie's help, to be meeting the target of the 12/21 date requirement to have the budget back out. So all good news. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Sean.
Yeah, so the Library Building Committee met earlier today. Project is moving along and is still on schedule and on budget. You've seen them working on the chimney reconstruction and masonry outside Internally, they're working on ductwork and doing some of the new rough plumbing for the new bathrooms and things. Also, the water line, you'll see right out front there, that big, so they did pass their water line pressure test today, so you should see over the course of hopefully the next week or so that get filled in there. But the project is moving along well. Let's see here. Also, yesterday, the 250th and American Revolution Committee met. I just 7 very motivated individuals looking forward to what they're going to put forward over the next, say, 8 to 10 months. So thank you to everybody who's joined that committee. Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving dinner, I just mentioned it here at the Knights of Columbus. Anybody who doesn't have plans for Thanksgiving Day, I'm sure you're going to mention a turkey trot, so I won't mention that. And
I think they are looking for you to call if you're planning to attend, correct?
yes,
For
reservations by this Friday. Yep, thank you. That's it.
Thanks for bringing that up. Great. Mark, you ready?
Sure. A lot of my were already mentioned, so I hope I'm not being redundant, but I wanted to congratulate Jim Tepper for the Scouts Award, congratulate Paul Kevaney, if I'm pronouncing that right. The Veterans Day ceremony was quite an experience, and
Yes.
he's definitely deserving of that recognition. And of course, Bonnie Perrin, who I was there as well, and that was hilarious and poignant at the same time.
Great event.
On Sunday, I led a community land trust site walk at the Ellis Walker property, which is our latest open space property. I wanted to thank CLT Stewardship Committee for preparing those trails. They're not officially marked yet. The parking isn't in place, so I would say hold off until next year to visit formally, but it's definitely going to be a good addition to our trail network and open space inventory. The ATSC committee met yesterday, discussed a number of things. BWALT was discussed. There was some minor discussion of the Cumberland Farms project on Flanders and whether there might need to be an easement there. One of the members mentioned that he was meeting with Northborough to look at the BWALT section in Northborough. The Safe Routes to School. I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong. It's not Safe Routes to School. It's they discussed the post road development, and a lot of the things were similar. The comments that we had on that project about connecting to bike and pedestrian and redesign of the Milk Street intersection. The bike racks were discussed. There's 2 location changes, and of course that'll have to come to us for approval, but the front of the arcade building is not, apparently the sidewalk's not wide enough, so they're discussing moving it around to the side. And then the Civic Club's contribution of the bike rack in front of Town Hall allows for an additional bike rack, which will probably be further down West Main Street, closer to the Rotary. The results of the Lyman Street speed audit and it came in, and they were looking to request police presence on Lyman Street, particularly in the summer. They're working on Vision Zero, which includes a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. I think their priority is going to focus on walk audit training, which they've got participating communities, neighboring communities involved to share the cost of that and do some walk audit training here in Westborough to train the trainers, so to speak, so that people can go out and train other people to do walk audits and determine, identify safety concerns on walkability of different neighborhoods in town. Obviously, the grant for the active transportation plan and I think that's probably it from ATSC. The Community Preservation Committee has not met since our last meeting, but they are actively soliciting applications for funding for CPA funds. If anybody listening feels that they have a project eligible, they can go onto the CPC website, or the town website, and link to CPC. Friday the 21st, we have a Light the Way. The Student Council is hosting a community walk where you can purchase a luminary, and the luminary you can buy up to 20. You could probably buy 40 if you want, but the money will be going to teen mental health, to an organization called Kyle Cares. So you purchase the luminaries, light them up, do a community walk on Friday night with the luminaries. Saturday at 6:30 is the turkey shoot to WASA fundraiser, the athletic supporters fundraiser. You mentioned the Thanksgiving dinner. We mentioned the active transportation plan, the winter lights, the Jingle Bell Fun Run. Finally, I'd just like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and remind everyone that the winter parking ban goes into effect on December 1st. Hopefully not an issue for anybody, but don't leave your car in the street.
Thank you. Shelby.
I just want to echo thanks to the Veterans Advisory Board for a really thoughtful and well-delivered Veterans Day celebration. Very, very touching. And also want to thank Post 22 for their participation in keeping everyone warm with coffee. Thanks not only to the folks at the Senior Center, but also to Debbie Ledoux, our town clerk, for a really, really special birthday celebration. Patrick already mentioned this, but for Bunny Perrin, just a really special day, hearing her history and ties to Westborough, and just really humbling. Kind of makes one of those days when you're like, this is the best part of being a member of the select board. So anyway, it's a great day. I did want to, I didn't plan on bringing this up, but Mark, your update prompted this, so I'm just putting it up to the board for consideration of a future agenda item. I also saw the email and understand the initiative by a member of ATSC to reach out across town lines to collaborate with other towns, as well as maybe some easement discussions. And I think it's important that the board, our board, reviews the roles and responsibility of the ATSC. We did update those responsibilities, and easements, number one, is not part of that responsibility. Collaboration with town departments is, as it would relate to kind of building out the VWALT. But I do think we need to address that as a board. I feel like we've done gone through a very thoughtful and hard, and I'll say a tedious process of trying to kind of get this project to a good place between the memorandum of understanding with the planning board and tonight's update. And I think we just need to have a discussion. So I just bring that up through you, Ian, as a future agenda item.
It's a goal. It's a FY26 goal.
Okay.
Yes, also aware of that, Christy. Thank you. All the more reason. And I want to be clear, as an agenda item for not just this particular matter, but making sure that the scope of the responsibility of the ATSC is what we want it to be. Because I think there are probably other aspects of it that could be enhanced or tweaked.
Can I just add that at the development team meeting on Friday, we talked about having that discussion at the next meeting in December to be prepared to bring something to the board.
Great, thank you. Is that it,
I'm
Shelby?
sorry, Christy, you said meeting, yeah, I'm sorry, Christy, you mean at the development team meeting?
Yeah, on Friday. We talked about having that discussion at the next development team to bring something to the board.
The December development.
Okay, as a recommendation for scope of responsibility.
Right. In order to meet that goal. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Yes, that's my understanding. Thanks.
Great. Shelby, is that it? Shelby, you all set?
Yes, I am. Sorry.
No problem.
Can I just add, sorry, I should have said that the tax classification hearing is going to be at the next select board meeting, December 2nd at 7:30. So.
Thank you. Just a couple things on my part. Wanted to thank the scouting units in town, but also more importantly, the residents in town for just an unbelievable Scouting for Food food drive that occurred the past last week, and over 7,000 pounds of food was raised for the food pantry. That was last year. I think there was about 4,500 pounds of food raised during that event. So, as we all know, the need is there at the food pantry. So just thank you for everybody and for the community for really supporting those that are less fortunate and have that need. As Sean mentioned, Turkey Trot is happening this coming Saturday, 9 o'clock. Bib pickup is Thursday and Friday, as well as those that sign up ahead of time and time frame will get their Turkey Trot T-shirts, which is always a coveted item. But again, great event, annual event, kicking off the beginning of the Thanksgiving week. And then the final thing that I wanted to bring up was a letter from a resident that came into Christie and myself with raising the question was whether there is any possibility the select board will be relocating the weekly protesters from the Rotary to another location in town. And basically concerns about pedestrian, motorist, and traffic hazards that the protests create weekly. Today there was mentioned in the email that there was a very elderly protester step out in front of this individual's car in front of the Westborough Eye Center pedestrian crosswalk. So without as much as a glance, but did mention that the Massachusetts State Police have a mechanism that allows Commonwealth citizens to file complaints regarding hazardous traffic patterns directed to them. It said basically if the select board has no intention of removing the protesters from the Rotary to a safe location, I'll be filing a complaint with the state police, and that Governor Healy has charged the state police with ensuring that all anti-government protests are safe for all citizens, including motorists, pedestrians, and protesters. I will share this with the rest of the board, but something to put out there whether we may want to put this on an agenda item for discussion.
Yeah.
So just wanted to put that out there. And thank you for the resident for sending along an email.
You're looking for feedback on that right now. I think we should have that discussion. So.
Okay. Take that and work with Christy to get it on the agenda. Okay, that is all I had. So that concludes that. Next, we have move into executive session. Christy, do we have?
Sean,
It's just about it, Jordan. I'd actually put it. That's okay. It's just the bottom two, right? You
Sorry,
thought-
you did. Bottom
Minutes.
3?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I think I also need a link for executive session if
Okay, move to executive
Or somebody needs to
session
call.
under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with patrol union if the chair determines that an open meeting would have a detrimental impact on the board's position. Under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation, 3M PFAS Phase 1 settlement, accelerated payment program, if the chair determines that an open meeting would have a detrimental impact on the board's position. Under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A7, to act under the authority of the Select Board to approve executive session minutes of October 14th, October 28th, and November 7th, 2025.
And I declare that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the board's negotiating and bargaining position, and that we will not be entering into open session at the conclusion of the executive session. Can I have a second to the motion?
Second.
Patrol? Yep. Okay, moved and seconded. Roll call vote. Shelby?
Marshall, yes.
Silverberg, yes.
Keo, yes.
Welch, yes.
And Johnson, yes. Thank you again to Westborough TV and for solving our technical difficulties at the beginning. Appreciate that. And again, happy Thanksgiving to everyone here in town. And we will now move into executive session.